Right, hello there. You probably watched the first video and didn't really understand what it was about. That's okay, you weren't meant to. It was done for a friend as a joke. This is my first actual legitimate shitty reading of a fairly shitty book. I was thinking we should have a go at Sue Barton, Staff Nurse by Helen Dorr Boylston. And it's a green night. I don't know if you can't really see there because the lighting is shit. I'll just pick it up a bit there, so you can see if. Oh, yeah. Let me just put this on. Right, you can see that this is a Green Knight book, and as we all know, this is a Green Knight. This is a Green Knight book, which is. Oh, fuck's sake. This is a Green Knight book, which means that it is a book by one of the most popular authors of all. Lovely. Wouldn't want to read a non-popular author now, would we? Chapter 1. No Shadow. That Friday evening seemed like every other July day, and not at all like an end to anything. Great puffs of white cloud drifted innocently across the hazy summit of Mount Washington. The afternoons were drowsy with the songs of insects and the smells of pines. A breeze fleshing clean from the wooded slopes of New Hampshire's presidential range brought a pleasant touch of coolness. It was a day to enjoy, and there was no hint of trouble in it. Sue paused halfway up the back porch steps and turned, a slender figure in white slacks and green blouse. Her copper-red hair was brushed softly back from a vivid face, which refused to tan regardless of sun and wind, and her brown eyes were quiet with contentment. She smiled, half in tenderness, half in amusement, as she looked back. Her 5-year-old twins, Johnny and Jerry, with Maxwell the dachshund, were entangled in a wriggling heap on the lawn. Her daughter, Tabitha, aged 7, was swinging under the big maple, dark pigtails flying as she swooped. From the tool shed came a bass rumble slightly off key, the voice of Sue's husband, Dr. William Barry, humming Old Man River whilst he collected his fishing kit. Indoors and somewhat muffled by distance, Sue heard a gurgle followed by a prolonged squeak as she laughed. The baby was awake. The late afternoon sunlight spilled down through the maples, touching into brilliance the red heads of the tumbling little boys, and dappling. Okay, I'm just going to stop there. I don't think dappling is a correct word. I could be wrong, but I don't believe dappling is a correct term of phrase. Just focus that up there. I'm going to just upload these totally unedited, by the way, because it's something fun to do, and you're still watching it, so. Dappling Tabitha's happy face. Last July, Sue remembered transporting herself back a year in order to enjoy the feeling of having a second sight. Last July at this time, Tabitha had been going through a hurt feeling phase. Jerry had been behaving like a problem child, for the very good reason that he has exceptional musical talent which nobody suspected. Johnny, the practical, had fallen violently in love. Caroline Stewart, a teen age. Just to let you know, that's actually the word teen and age with a little dash thing. Not teenage, I don't know, I had to pronounce it that way. Neighbour was having serious trouble at home. Both she and her mother were appealing to Sue for help. It was like trying to walk 5 tight-ropes at once, Sue thought, especially with my own state of mind in making everything more difficult. Her state of mind that summer had been induced by a growing sense of guilt because her training as a nurse and her experience in hospital and public health work were growing rusty with disuse, were, Sue felt, being wasted. When the children were babies it had been all right, but now they were school-age, she thought, and should be working, or so she thought. The matter had troubled her for months, until she finally told Bill about it. What he had said had helped a lot, but the coming of baby Sue had helped most of all. If she still had an occasional fit of restlessness, she no longer felt guilty. She was doing the most important job there was right here. Bill had convinced her of that, and baby Sue made short work of the restless moments. There ought always be a baby in the house, Sue thought, and went indoors to find her youngest cradled in the arms of a stout white-haired woman with serene eyes. Vizzy Ann Cooney, an old friend, and now Sue's housekeeper. Vizzy Ann was sitting comfortably in the kitchen rocker, the remains of the baby's sofa on a small table beside her. The baby was more than comfortable. She was ecstatic. Her mouth and her chin had disappeared behind clots and smears of crimson. Both cheeks were mottled with repellent brown substance of the consistency of mud, and one eyebrow dripped.
"Good heavens," said her mother, "she looks like a traffic accident. Did any of the liver or tomato go into the mouth?" "That, most of them, but real straight about her meals. Kind of go to meet her." "You call that a meeting? I'd call it a head-on collision. You shouldn't have fed her, Vizzy Ann. I was coming right in." "I enjoy feeding her."
Vizzy Ann wiped a splotch of tomato out of the baby's hair.
"And she's the image of you. She's going to be like you too. Seems as though there's one more yarn than any of the others."
Sue smiled down at the red gold fuzz on her daughter's head.
"Could be," she admitted, "but it's getting a little hard to say at 4 months."
She turned round at the sound of Bill's step.
"Hello, all ready to go?"
He came to grin at the baby, his tall figure and broad shoulders enormous behind her small pinkness. "Hi, shrimp," he said. The baby gurgled and held out her arms, her tiny starfish hands as daubed with liver and tomato as her face. Bill backed away. "Oh no," he said. "I've got a moustache already, and it doesn't need decorating." He tickled her gently in the stomach, and she squeaked with pleasure. Then her eyes closed, and she slept instantly, replete with food, warmth, and contentment. A sudden sleep of the very young.
"Wow!"
said her father admiringly. "That's a talent I wish I have. I could do with it." Sue glanced at him quickly.
"Why?" she asked. "Aren't you sleeping?"
"Oh, sure, but I still seem to be all in most of the time."
"I thought you said things had been rather easy at the hospital these last 5 months."
"They have, but I've got practice too, you know." He went to the sink, turned on the tap, picked up a bar of laundry soap, and began to lather his... just checking the time. You know what? I'm going to finish this paragraph. Lather his arms. His movements were so automatic, those of the surgeon scrubbing for an operation, that Sue grinned. And we shall leave it there. I might read a bit more, I might not. I'll do what I want, to be honest. This is a hobby and it's fun. Right, well, that's about it. See you later. Love you. Bye.